anything if you don't let this happen. Denial. That's not just a river in Egypt. It's denial. You say, geez, I don't believe that I have this terrible disease. I could do anything, and I would work. I'd work 12, I'd work 24 hours a day. I knew that at the end of this, I'd have something to show for it. But, you can't deny when your right foot is flapping and your right arm is starting not to work right. And you can't deny there's something wrong. And then you go through a phase of depression. Depression is the worst. I don't know if you in your life, Randall, you went through depression through all this, but
Oh God, yes.
those are the dark days. Those are the awful days. Those are the days when you lay in bed looking at the ceiling, wondering what's going to happen,
Yes.
worried that there's no tomorrow, and really doesn't matter. You're going to die in 6 months anyhow. So
Doctor, I just want to interrupt you for 1 second, just so we go back a little bit. That doctor said what?
Yeah.
he said, you've got ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Get your affairs in order. You're going to be dead in 6 months.
Oh,
Lou
well,
Gehrig's.
the reason why I backed you up a little bit is because the beginning of this show was delayed. So I want to get as much in as I possibly can because it cut off some of the beginning of the show. My question was, with that type of disease, what was his prognosis?
There is none. You're dead. It's just a matter of time till you die. Lou Gehrig's disease is one of the worst diagnoses a person could ever have. It's a terrible diagnosis where eventually you stop breathing in your sleep, and it just keeps on progressing until you're paralyzed from the neck down. Your body doesn't work. All you have is your brain, and eventually that just caves in. So it's a terrible diagnosis. It's the worst diagnosis a person could have in mankind.
Yeah. It's interesting too, Doc, is that that's the standard response and standard definition for ALS. And then because you have it, you've got 6 months. And then when you tell someone that, you're going, wow, I have 6 months and then I'm going to die. And so, what do you think is that you're you're going to die? And you're a doctor going, really? And I'm on this end now. And so, but the thing is, once you tell someone something like that coming from, say, a doctor, specialist, whatever, they go, oh, he must be right. He's got that white coat. He's a god. He knows everything. But what you did was something different because, one, you didn't believe it. And
No,
then I'll let you carry on with this because you're still here. And then, thanks to you, we get to learn. And, this thing is, you've got more than 6 months. And then so you've got other things going on. So go ahead, inform us.
Well, what I did was I went to my wife and I said, dear, do you think I have ALS? She says, I don't think you do. I think you've got something else. I said, what do I have? She said, I have no idea, but you're smart. You can figure it out. Yeah. Thanks for the vote of confidence, dear. Well, back in 2003, something new was just invented, Randall. It was called the internet. You ever hear of that beast?
Boy, anything you ever wanted to know, you can go find out.
Yes, but back in 2003, it was very primitive. You had to use dial-up connections. You used to have a phone that would phone up to another phone and it would go Ria, 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 Ria for about 15 minutes until it finally connected. Well, I had friends who were nerds and they helped me to explore the wonderful world of the internet. And I found a doctor in Colorado Springs who had a story very similar to mine, but he got worse much more rapidly. And he was on his deathbed when a doctor from Texas came up to him and looked at him and said, David, I don't think you have ALS. I think you have got something else. David said, what do I have? He said, you've got chronic Lyme's disease. David said, what's that? The doctor from Texas says, it's a bite of a tick and it mimics ALS. It looks just like it. And unless you know better, you are going to die. David said, well, treat me. I've got nothing to lose. So he started him on antibiotics. And within days, he was back to his usual self. He was like Lazarus arising from the dead. So I knew I had to get in touch with David. I phoned every hospital in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I met up with David at the Methodist Hospital. And David was there, and I talked to him, and he said, can you come down and see me? And I said, when? He said, right now. And I said, well, I'd love to, but it's Thanksgiving in Canada. My wife's invited 50 people over. David said, aren't there any planes in Canada? Come on down anyhow. Good old David had a good sense of humor. And I got on a plane. I went from Edmonton to Denver, which was a great flight. And then I got on a flight from Denver to Colorado Springs, Colorado. It was a terrible flight. I don't know if you've ever been on it, but the winds at the end of the day come off the desert and they cause eddies, which causes turbulence. And you know what turbulence means on a plane, Randall?
It shakes like hell.
It shakes like hell, but it also drops. The plane would drop 100 feet, and then it would climb 200 feet. It would drop another 100 feet. It would climb 100 feet. It would drop another 100 feet. And that was the worst flight of my life. It was a roller coaster ride. It was like a wild mouse. It was like a Ferris wheel, all put together, all in the same. That 10 minutes flight was a flight from hell. I was like a cork on a wave, on a tidal wave. And I was bopped about like crazy. And I crawled off the plane, almost dead. And there was David to meet me on the tarmac. And we talked for hours. And he said, Alan, I think history is repeating itself. I think I can treat you and make you better. And he did make me better. That was over 13 years ago. And that's why I'm thriving still now. But you know, when you go through this, Randall, you go through the pieces, you realize you've been given a second chance. And just like you, I decided to make the best out of it. I decided to give back. I decided to make the world a better place. And in 2020, I wrote a book called The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life that became a bestseller in the pandemic of 2020. And I'm thrilled that people saw so much into it and read so much into it. And anybody at the end of the show can go to my website, dralanlycka.com, and get a free digital copy of it, because I want the world to be enhanced. In that book, I share 13 golden pearls that I learned through living. Now, Randall, do you know what forms a pearl? Do you know how a pearl forms in nature?
Oh, yeah, it's a rough thing that is surrounded by goo, and then from there it becomes very slick and shiny and becomes very, precious to a lot of people.
Yeah, a little thing happens inside the shell of an oyster. A little grain of sand in there gets in there and it traumatizes the oyster. The oyster walls it off. It puts this goo-like material called luster around it, which becomes golden pearl. Now, there are golden pearls in this world. They exist in the South Pacific, and a single solitary pearl costs upwards of $10,000 in its perfect state. But you know, golden pearls are found in each and every one of us, Randall. They're found in you, they're found in me. And we don't have to pay $10,000 for them. We just have to find them as we go through a living and we go through our lives. And that's what I'd like everybody to realize. 13 golden pearls are inside of you that you can use to make the world a better place and make your life a better place.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And, I listened to you, and one, I'm glad you're alive. The other's that, you're a way better doctor now than you were back when, because you know more, because you went past all the traditional learning and you look into your heart, you look into your soul, and then, you find that energy, what I call the love energy, the God energy, once you become part of it, you pretty much can heal. Okay. And then you can share that healing. And so, I want to thank your wife too, because, she's a smart lady. Figure it out. You're a doctor. Come on. So I like her quite a bit. And, that first doctor that diagnosed you, that's to me what traditional medicine is. It's matter of fact, and, it's pharmaceutical based and all based on definition, but they never look inside of you. You, the person, you, that individual spirit, you, why God put you on earth for. You see, and then you had to learn that, from this, and look at you now, and you said, okay, this can't be it. This can't be it. And then,
but with the doctor,
you learned.
Yeah, I learned, and I had to forgive that doctor for his blankness and his stupidness and all this, because really, he was only going with what he knew. He knew only a certain amount of things. Chronic Lyme's disease didn't even know it existed back then, most doctors. They wouldn't look outside their shell. They wouldn't look for other things. If A plus B, if it looked like a dog and quacked like a dog, it was a dog, right?
No, it's true because right now and as far as the morphology in the U.S. goes, it's kind of different because before as far as cancer goes, it was on both coasts and all that, and because of glyphosate and the Mississippi River, Cancer Alley is from Baton Rouge all the way to the Gulf Coast, and then Lyme, which was more prevalent in the Northeast and all that's now a southern kind of thing. So things have gone around, but Lyme is very hard to diagnose or even recognize unless you read about it, because they go, oh, Lyme, and then they come to jump to conclusions and all that. But that's even under investigation too. So I'm glad you've got these other doctors out there that are actually thinkers. And then thanks to you, and thanks to more so your wife, kind of get off your ass and go find out stuff. You got to meet these right people, because there are wonderful doctors out there, but traditional training in medical schools as well as dental school, it's like you're made to memorize certain things, and everything falls in those parameters. And if it's not in there, then and then you get this shoulder shrug, or hey, you're gonna die, man. Oh, really? Is that it? Well, yeah. Get your affairs in order. And so I'm glad that you well, one, you got to experience that, to see that from another one of your colleagues, but then you did something about it. And then, so, what you've done is that you've shown others what is possible, and say, hey, keep an open mind and believe in yourself. You got to love yourself and find out as much information as possible. And, I thank your wife for this, and say, hey, Alan, you're a smart guy. Figure it out. But no, that's why I'm so glad you're on the show. And like I said, what you give to the rest of the world here, to this worldwide audience, is that you give them hope, okay, and then you show them what's possible, all because you kept your wits about yourself, and you wouldn't accept it. You wouldn't accept it.
I would love to also to share some of the golden pearls with people, because I think that's what everybody needs today. I think in this day and age, especially with COVID and everything else, I think people need to know how to get out of this. And I'm going to challenge your audience to do something. I'm going to challenge your audience to do something for their neighbor today that they wouldn't regularly do. Maybe they could go and buy them a coffee and just leave it on their doorstep and ring a doorbell, because we're supposed to be socially distancing. Maybe they can go do something nice for them, like mow their lawn without them knowing it, and just do something for them. It doesn't take much. Go give some of your old clothes to the clothes hampers that are out there. You've probably got too many as it is. So go give some of your old clothes that you've drawn, because people need clothes. Maybe give something to the food bank today, because people are hungry today. And if you could give something, they could go without being hungry. Just little things make all the difference in today's day and age. And that everybody on the show can do. Everybody listening can do. Everybody can go and do something that's fantastic and make the world a better place as a result of that.
No, that's right. No, you bring up one of those important factors. You call it a pearl, but giving is the secret sauce to successful living. Giving, because we tend not to do that. And I was kind of like raised by my parents that way, just because we were really poor. But for some reason, they always wanted to give, and I said, why do you guys give stuff? Because we're always broke all the time. Because giving is always best. But why? I said, no, we don't know why, but it just feels good. I said, oh, okay. And so, that's what I learned. And, then I meet a guy like Bob, then I meet you. You see, but giving is really the secret sauce to successful living. And, that's, one of your pearls. And I think it's something that we all can do, because the brain science to that, it's a serotonin oxytocin thing. Reward, just like the other part with, dopamine and norepinephrine and all. But serotonin is the basis of how dopamine comes about. And this comes out of the Andrew Huberman lab down in Stanford. But, I just love that, that pearl, because we tend not to do that. It's all, and it's God law, by the way. Doctor, it's, giving, receive, and circulation. And everyone tends to want to receive, take, but we never give. And you kind of look at our world right now. If we were just more better at giving, we'd probably be in a better place right now. But anyway, continue on.
I think another one everybody needs to know is laughter. I think everybody needs a little bit of laughter in their life, because we're all so serious in this day and age. You know, we're dealing with a very down day today after another mass shooting that's gone on. We're dealing with a day when people are feeling very sad. I think a little bit of laughter will help. So I want to brighten everybody's day with a little joke. A boy goes to his mom and said, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. All the teachers hate me. The students laugh at me. I just can't go. The mother says, well, you must go. He says, why? The mother says, you're 46-year-old and you're the principal.
Oh, I've got to go. Darn it. But no, laughter is another important one because once again, it's one of the brain science thing, but it's you put yourself in a different state. Once that state changes, now the world looks differently. So just how an awesome thing. And just continue.
I'm going to share another one with you, inspiration. And each of my books, in my book, each of my chapters is led by a little story. And this story is in the second chapter. It's called Inspiration. Inspiration is a little girl sat on the ground, visibly upset. What's wrong? Asked her dad. I will never get this. Tying shoelaces is far too hard. Oh, my belle-fille. My daughter is French, so I always refer to her as my belle-fille. But nothing is too hard for my little girl. Thanks, Dad. I will try. She tried over and over and over again, failing each time. Take a break. It will come. She drank some water and tried again. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can, she said over and over again. She kept on repeating to herself, I think I can. I think I can. Well, the end of the day came and she fell asleep. And she kept on saying throughout the night, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. When the dad woke up, he saw the little girl trying to tie her shoelaces again. Oh, it's still too hard, Dad. Well, let's go to the store. They went to the store and found a clown that had shoelaces that you could tie. So she tried again and again and again. And all of a sudden it happened. This miracle happened. She could tie the shoelaces. She said, I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. Now that's a story for everybody out there that's having difficult times right now. Because first you have to have the inspiration and you first have to try. Little baby steps is what you have to try. And then try something else. And then try something else. Inspiration is what it's all about. And that's what you need to do. You need to be inspired and you need to move this forward.
Oh, beautifully done. And I listened to you, and then all your your pearls are all science based. This is where kind of my head is at with things, and what you just kind of rattled off there, which was so important, is that that kind of stuff got studied at Harvard with this one guy, Srini. I forgot his name. His last name, his first name is Srini, but there's science behind that. And like I said, you had to go live it yourself, because look what happened to you, and you're going, wow, I'm a doctor and this happened to me, and what do I do now? You see, and then you did something about it, you believed, and then you had to find inspiration both in yourself and in others, and you're alive today, and you get to talk about it, and you get to actually do the best doctoring, which is teaching. So this is what you're teaching all of us and the whole audience. So please go on.
I'm going to share another one, and that's purpose. Everybody in life has a purpose, says Dolly Parton. The purpose of life is not necessarily to be happy. It's to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, and to have to make some difference that you have lived and lived well. That's from Ralph Waldo Emerson, which is very important. Now, you and I know our purpose now, Randall, but purpose is often a difficult thing for people. And the Japanese have invented a saying called ikigai, which helps people to understand their purpose. It has 4 parts. It has passion, it has mission, it has vocation, and it has profession. And when all those parts come together, those parts are what makes the ikigai. So that which you love is your passion. That which you are good at is your profession. That which you can be paid for is your vocation. And that which the world needs is your mission. So when you add passion plus mission club for profession and vocation, you get your ikigai. Now, some people might say, oh, that's far too complicated. It's actually not. You can start with a part-time ikigai. You can start trying one thing and see if it works for you. For you, that was dentistry to begin with. That was your part-time profession. You thought it was going to be everything in your life, but it didn't turn out to be. It turned out to be you had a bigger profession and a bigger mission and a bigger purpose than you could have ever imagined. And it only took God to reveal that, the Great Spirit. And it takes time, it takes effort, but eventually he reveals it to everybody. I'm happy that I had chronic Lyme's disease because it helped me to realize what my purpose in life is. And that's helped to educate people and just show them a better way.
No, that is real awesome, because we need well, folks like you out there, because one, you had to live it. You had to get smacked, and then you had to learn from that, and you notice that the great in your profession and the things that can be improved. But all those folks out there that are struggling, which means they're wandering, one without purpose, the others that no one ever taught them, and with all the media misinformation, what parents have taught generation after generation, the weird obedience conditioning, they never get to be themselves. So thanks to this this Lyme disease thing disguised as ALS, I get to meet a guy like you. But what you've done is you've inspired just a lot of people by being you, and I got to thank your wife for this too. And how much that you've benefited them, because all your pearls here are things that we all can do every day. And this is not really a hard thing, but we're so dialed in to just generalized generational type of conditioning. And I think we have to break free from that and start maybe redesigning our identity, which is going to redesign our destiny. So go ahead, keep on going.
I want to share that one about forgiveness again, because I think forgiveness is something that we really have to bring to the forefront. Especially on a dark day like today, where there's been a mass shooting and many people have been hurt. Darkness cannot drive out the darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. That was from Martin Luther King Jr. Very important words. And I think everybody on a day like today must realize that forgiveness is something that is important. It's not always easy. At times it feels more painful than the wound to be suffered, to forgive the one that inflicted it. And yet there is no peace without forgiveness. That's from Marianne Williamson. And I think forgiveness is something that has to come to the whole forefront. Now, Desmond and Mafoy Tutu, his daughter, said the cycle can be broken by a fourfold process. And that's first telling the story of how you were hurt. Number two, naming the hurt, naming what it was that hurt you. Number three, granting forgiveness. And number four, renewing and releasing the relationship. I think that's very important. You had to forgive the person that shot you. Otherwise, that poison that was going inside your body would have eventually caused more problems. If you get bitten by a snake, it's not the bite that kills you. It's the poison, the venom that you keep inside your body that keeps you going and eventually kills you. You must get rid of the venom. And that's how you do that, through forgiveness.
No, that's beautifully done, because love and forgiveness, when they come together, and what you're talking about with all your pearls, these are all God laws, God rules, and you're in that high energy zone. And once you're in that zone, you're afforded this knowledge, this wisdom of the ages. And once you can take time to look past the rushing to work because you're late because of the job, or the rent's late, or the kids are flunking out of school, or those damn Democrats, those damn Republicans, blah blah, like this. And once you get into the love and forgiveness part, and forgiveness is also for yourself, then we adhere to the God laws, the God rules, and once you do that, you're in this zone. And I think that is the path forward. And your wisdom and all these pearls that you're recommending is, one, worked for you, and this is what's going to remind the rest of us of what we can do and who we can become, and how we're in this together. We're all together, and atomically at that micro level, we're all the same. But once we put love first, we put forgiveness first, then we have a great unity there. And I think our world so needs it, because our brethren are just scattered, and a lot of it's fear-based. Okay, but and that fear becomes anger and hate and win lose, and I win you lose, and you're wrong I'm right, and things like that. So
in my book,
you're so well to explain all that.
Yeah, in my book, I addressed the chapter with a bonus chapter on fear. You know what fear stands for? It's actually an eponym. It stands for false expectations appearing real. Did you know that 95% of things that we fear never come about, never happen? So that's why it's false expectations appearing real. It's very important to realize that most of the things we fear are actually that. And really, all we really have to fear is fear itself. So the most important thing is to get up, get out of that fear zone, and move forward. Try a baby step. Try something. That's how you do it. Activity overcomes fear. Activity is one of those things that basically makes a person better and makes things happen. Activity is what overcomes fear and makes the world a better place. Do activity in a positive way, it actually makes it a better place even more so.
No, I love what you're talking about, and I love what you're teaching here. And boy, if somehow if you can get this type of curriculum into medical schools, or with some of those colleagues of yours that might be more open than others, that would really help. But the average person does not recognize this, because if you were raised in the Western world, especially United States or Canada, it's that achievement, and in this country is that American dream. You work hard, you get all this money and all this stuff, and you're sitting on top of the world, kind of stuff like that. And it doesn't matter who you knock down, and what happens. You kill yourself trying to get there. Say, wow, that's it. I guess the Puritan work ethic, whatever that is. Okay, but you bring a different twist to it, because I believe from all your experiences here, with you being failed, and then you going to seek treatment or help, and then you being told, hey dude, you're gonna die. What do you mean? Well, that's it. And then you didn't accept it. And so I'm so glad you got to be on the show here, because medical treatment, Western medical treatment, is just like that. A lot of it is matter of fact, and I don't know all medical doctors and all that, but I think that the generality is that it's very fact-based, very not warm, not emotional, and it's this is what you have. These are your symptoms. These symptoms add up to this. Aha, here it is. And if you want to live, take this. And then I got to go. I got someone else to go. You see, and so, what you bring to I guess, not on just the show, but to our community, is that, there's love and forgiveness. There's understanding, there's caring, there's empathy. There's listening to that scared person, because you've got that powerful white coat on, right? That, what's he going to say? And am I going to live? And what can I do? And so they're scared, and not knowing where to turn, and to be hit with, you have this, and so take this. Okay, and so they don't feel like a person. They don't feel significant. They don't feel part of everything. And so what you bring here is the power, that's love, that's forgiveness.
And I want to go into that just a little bit more about love. And I'm going to read one more story from my book. It's called The Shoebox. There once was a little 3-year-old girl who was extremely happy. She was angelic. She had red curly hair. She was always singing and playing. She never walked. She skipped everywhere she went. The world was her oyster. From sunup to sundown, everyone who saw her had a smile on their face. One day, her father punished her because she had given a box wrapped in golden wrapping paper. Money was tight, and he was infuriated that the child tried to decorate a shoebox and put it under the Christmas tree. Nevertheless, the little girl brought the gift to her father, and the next morning, and said, "This is for you, Daddy." The man became embarrassed over the reaction when he realized what the little girl had done was blow kisses into the shoebox, and the kisses were all for him. One
Wow.
day, one day, one day the dad said that one day the daughter was killed in a tragic accident. And the old man died with a broken heart. He went up to heaven, and St. Peter met him at the pearly gates. St. Peter said, "To enter, you must give me something very valuable, and I'll let you come in." The old man gave Peter the most important thing he ever had, the empty shoebox. Immediately, he was granted permission to go into heaven.
That is so beautiful, Alan. It's just so beautiful. We forget those little things, and especially when it comes from someone else, because we're all stuck on our belief system or what we're conditioned to believe, and then what we never considered someone else, and it's not a be with situation. It's like this is what I'm controlled with. My subconscious is controlled this way, and we never believe it. And what a beautiful story, because you have this young girl who's just so innocent. She's trying to say I love you in her way, and this dad just at the time just didn't see it, and so I don't know, that's so very precious. And so your pearls, because we all forget that kind of stuff, and this is not something that we need to learn. It's always there, but we've been taught otherwise for all these years, for whatever our parents are out there, or our peers, or what's on the media. So what you bring here is such valuable information that we can employ right now, because if we want to make a better world, we follow these 13 pearls, and that's we can incorporate that makes us better, that changes us, that changes our worldview, and thusly the world changes. So continue on. This is just
I'm going to share another story from my book of golden pearls as well. It's on enthusiasm. Enthusiasm makes the world go round. And there was a carpenter by the name of Fred, and he was 40. He had been working in the same job for 65 years, and he had lost his enthusiasm. So he went to his boss and said, "Boss, I'm done. I can't work anymore. I just don't have the enthusiasm that's carried me all the years." The boss was taken aback. This was his master carpenter. He helped build every house that was ever built by this company. So the boss said, "Fred, could you just do one more thing for me?" The Fred said, "Of course, boss. I've loved it here. Anything you ask, I'll do for you." He said, "Could you build me just one more house, one more, and then I'll let you go?" Well, Fred said, "Of course I will do it," but his heart wasn't into it. He dragged his ass to work every day. He barely put in 2 hours a day of work, whereas in the old days, he used to work 12. He used to work 24. He used to work day and night to make those houses beautiful. He was a master carpenter, and he showed it. Well, a miracle happened at the end when the house was built. It passed inspection. So he went back to his boss, threw the keys on the desk, and said, "I'm done. I'm done." The boss said, "Just wait a minute. You're not leaving that early. We're going to have a party." So he gathered everybody in the office. He popped the champagne. They had the caviar. They had a great feast, and he was happy for him. He said, "Everybody, this is Fred's last day. I'm sad that he's leaving, but I'm also very happy because he's going to do better things in his life." He said, "And I've got a little gift for Fred. Fred, here's the keys to the last house you ever built. Live in it with all the enthusiasm that you ever gave me." Now, could you picture what that enthusiasm would have done if he had brought it to the last job, just like he had done all those others? And this is why I share this, because enthusiasm is not a Monday thing. It's not a Friday thing. It's not a Tuesday thing. It's the game breaker. It's what you bring every day to the office that makes it so much more important and makes the world a better place for everybody. And that's what really makes the world go round, is enthusiasm.
Well, one, I love all these pearls, and I can well, not think about me, but they think about you when you're doing surgery. If you didn't bring your A game that day, say, I got stuff to do. I don't want to miss the game and all that. And that's not going to be your best work, although you're skilled at what you do. Without that enthusiasm, it's like, I just want to do this and get the hell out of here. And that compromises your best stuff. And so enthusiasm is so important, because once you bring that there, that's that one thing that can get that extra yard or can win the game, or that one thing that will take it over the top, just because of that. You may not be the best or most skilled person, but when you bring enthusiasm, to the table, it's like there's no more rules. They go, okay, now it's on. So wow, just so many all these pearls we can use right away.
Well, another golden pearl I would like to share with everybody is non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are essentially pearls of success. They are the keys to living. They define what you will never compromise on. Randall, do you have a list of non-negotiables?
Oh, I've got a lot of them, but I guess the one I just follow is be true, and always be truthful.
I think that's a very important one. And when you look hard, those are important ones. Other things you should concentrate on is your health. Another thing you should concentrate is on your welfare. Another thing you should concentrate is on your family. Respect, honesty, things that are integral to you. Morals and ethics. Don't impact others with your choices. You decide to, if you do something that's bad for you, you shouldn't impact anybody else with it except yourself. You should have your dignity. You should have trust. You should have self-care. You should have work. You should really live your life and do it to the best of your ability every day. Mahatma Gandhi said, if you're a street sweeper, you should be the best street sweeper in the world. And that's what everybody should bring their game every day and do the best they ever can in everything they can.
Let's see. Once again, all beautiful stuff, and the things that should be taught to children, and more importantly to their parents. But all those folks that get involved in with addiction or drugs, or get into the criminal justice system and all that, what you just read off here, if they just paid attention to that, all of a sudden the world is different and they're different, because they view themselves much differently, and that they follow these these pearls here, and they can radically change their life, and once again radically change the outcomes that they have. So yeah, I just love listening to it, so keep on.
Hey, doctor, I got a question on the chat room.
Yeah,
sure.
It's from Lynette. Lynette?
Yes.
Okie dokie. She said, should I say, does he have the story about the little girl blowing kisses inside a box?
Oh, we just covered that. She must not be on here for it. I'll read it again if she likes, but I think most of the others have heard it already today.
Yeah, or maybe it came through my chat late, like everything else today. But, I'm serious. I mean, when I saw that, I said, wait a minute, I remember a story about that.
Thank you, Lynette. I think others have listened to it and already loved it. I hope you were there beforehand and your question came through late. It's a beautiful story, but you can read the story by getting a copy of my book absolutely free by going to my website, dralanlycka.com. There's a box there that you can sign up for my book, and you can read that story and all the 14 stories that are in here to help you take you to the next level and help you have a beautiful life.
Yeah, that link, doctor, about the free book is already on the promo, and it will be on the YouTube tomorrow. So everybody that listens to the YouTube and that can just click on the link in it and get a free copy of the book.
Oh, that's
wonderful.
No, this book's got to get out to as many people as possible, and to all different areas or factions in our life, because what neat things to follow, because we all miss this, and these aren't hard, and they're very simple, but unless we implement them or put them in our lives, we go on doing what we're keep on doing, and look at us now. I think we can so improve, and just with these pearls here, like I said, small changes, you do the baby step thing, and you kind of learn it first, and from there it becomes a new life. And I think that this betters all of ours. So thank you for all of that.
I'm going to read one more story if we still have time. Do we, Randall?
You got
Bob?
plenty of time, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. Okay. I'm going to read the story about the butterfly struggles. A man found a cocoon of a butterfly. One day, a small opening appeared. The man watched the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to force its body through the tiny little hole. Suddenly, the butterfly stopped making any progress and looked like it had been stuck. So the man decided to help the butterfly. He used a pair of scissors to snip off the remaining bit of the cocoon. The butterfly then easily emerged, although it had a swollen body and small shriveled wings. The man didn't realize it, but by helping the butterfly, he had done a great deal of harm. You see, for a butterfly to get out of a cocoon, it must force the fluid from its body and therefore develops a beautiful set of wings. Now, this butterfly was forced to crawl the rest of its life and never had the opportunity to fly. So, despite the man's kind heart, the man didn't realize and understand that the restricted cocoon and the struggle to get itself through the small opening was God's way of forcing the fluid out of the body and into the wings so it could once again become a beautiful butterfly. The moral of the story is vulnerability allows us to struggle. Struggles build our strengths if we allow them and work through them. So vulnerability is a basic uncertainty. It's risk, it's emotional exposure. None of us like to feel vulnerable, but it's vulnerability that allows us to do everything. It's vulnerability that allows us to be happy. It's vulnerability that allows the world to be a better place. Vulnerability is the source of beauty. It's also the source of where we have our most difficulties in our life. Randall, do you like to feel vulnerable?
Actually, no, I don't.
No, I don't think any of us do. But let's put it another way. If you were running a race, don't you have to put it all on the line? Don't you have to try to be the best you can? At that very moment, you're the most vulnerable in the world. But that allows you to become the winner of the race. That allows you to succeed in the things that are there. So vulnerability is where beautiness happens. It's where beautifulness happens. Vulnerability is where the world becomes a better place.
Yeah. You see, why that is so beautiful is that, especially for guys, when you mention that vulnerable word, you go, oh, no, that's unless that gets me a date, I'm not going to ever do that. I don't want to let that hang out because I'm just going to get stumped on, made fun of, and people are going to beat me up and all that. But just the emotional pain of that kind of things, especially guys won't do. So I'm glad that's part of your pearls, because we need more of that. Not only just men, but everyone. Women too, because that's almost like a. I mean, it's not a bad word, but people say, well, I would never do that because, now I'm exposed to harm and danger and people can make fun of me and things like that, where how you explain it, we become better for it. We become stronger. And then, when you talk about the, self-love and unconditional love and giving love, that's what all that is. So what a powerful word. And I'm so glad that's one of your pearls.
Well, in my book, there's also 143 wonderful quotes, and I'm going to share another one about vulnerability. I understand now that the vulnerability I've always felt is the greatest strength a person can have. You can't experience life without feeling life. What I've learned is that being vulnerable to somebody you love is not a weakness, it's a strength. Elizabeth Shue said that. What beautiful words. How vulnerability is really the source of love as well. Love is one of the most powerful things. But to be loved, to give love, to experience love, you have to be vulnerable. If you're not in a vulnerable state, you will never truly experience love and know love.
Oh, that's really beautiful. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of calls from that for folks wanting you to become their marriage counselor. But yes, even in intimate relationships, a lot of that, especially in Western cultures, aren't discussed most because who wants to be vulnerable, things like that. But that's a I think from one with just being married, just the kind of glue that keeps us together. And then you've explained it so eloquently that it is so essential to not only growth but to know the other person so you can know yourself. So beautifully done, and we need all of this. So keep on going.
Okay, another thing that I would like to go on is attitude. Did you know the only thing that's more positive, that's stronger than a good attitude is a bad attitude? Isn't a bad attitude sometimes pervasive in our society? Everybody has a bad attitude these days. You know, people have bad attitudes and they bring it to the forefront. I think a good attitude is more important. And I think everybody needs to turn on the good attitude that they have inside themselves.
That's once again beautiful stuff. And like I said, all things known to us, but we choose often what we've been taught, and often we choose bad attitude because one, that's what we've been taught, and like you said, it's very powerful, darn powerful. And when you talk about the God laws and say law of attraction, law of vibration, that's it. You bring bad attitude, and guess what? You can attract more of it, to yourself, and you're going to attract those kind of people to you. Now, the entire collective consciousness within that area is bad attitude, and that kind of turns to ugly words, to violence sometimes, and especially where we're at now in our country, that it's becoming more and more like that. So if we just changed our attitude, step back for a little bit, and just appreciated life, appreciated ourselves, and just made love come first, our thinking would be different. But so your book, I think, is coming out at the right time, and it's I think it basically it's what's developed with you, okay, but this helps the rest of us in us and our situation that we're in right now, because there's so much confusion, and from there all that fear, no one wants to be vulnerable, but there's all this fear, and then comes the anger, then the taking of sides, I'm right, you're wrong, kind of deal. And from there we're more entangled, and then we become further and further apart. So I think your book is serves really a higher cause and what's needed right now, for all of us, because look at our world, not only in the U.S. but worldwide. Everyone's bickering, fighting, and scared, fearful, and we need something like this. And so, like I said, it's timing is this is the right time, and just the synchronicity, I think, is just appropriate, because you're coming out, with this wonderful book that everyone can enjoy, and then we can all take our baby steps, but just to do some of those things and just incorporate that and see what goes on and how it makes you feel. Because I listen to all of these pearls, and it's like, wow, it's this is something we all know, but we don't always employ, and there's so much benefit from incorporating that into our lives, and like I said, we always can improve.
And if you follow these golden pearls and listen to them, you'll become empowered. And I'm going to share another quote. The more you trust your intuition, the more empowered you become, the stronger you become, and the happier you become. That's from Giselle Bündchen, who wrote this beautiful passage. Empowerment is something that's very important. Empowerment is the end goal of all of this. So you can become empowered and overcome all the obstacles that you have in your life just from yourself. By putting the 13 golden pearls together and overcoming fear, you can become empowered. And I think empowerment is a very important step for everyone.
No, it's beautifully done. I want all the audience to get a hold of this book and read it, and employ as much of it as possible, and slowly incorporate everything, and the others to allow them to be honest with themselves. So, where can I improve, or where am I afraid to improve, or I don't want to be vulnerable because that's, shows weakness or something like that. To be honest with themselves and say, hey, if I love myself a little bit more, if I took some of these baby steps with some of these pearls, maybe that might change my life. But what I see as a global assessment of what this book is, that this is a spiritual guide, to that invisible world which you have to travel yourself. where it makes people just honest and truthful about themselves. Okay, and then so now they will have enough courage to be vulnerable, to see what's with them, to see what makes them afraid of certain things, what makes them bold about certain things, what gives them their subconscious restricted beliefs about certain things. You allow them to be honest, and you allow them to make changes, and it's not a bad thing to change. So what wonderful content, in there. And yes, it's empowerment because uh, we can talk all day about certain things and be that great armchair quarterback. He should have done this, should have done that, and all that. But what you've done with this book here is you've allowed us to unleash our own powers. So wonderful book. I want everyone to get a copy.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me on your show. Thank you for letting me be part of this, Dr. Randall. I wish you the best of peace and love and happiness. And thank you very much for being part of your show.
No. Thanks so much. And like I said, well, I've got this show thanks to Bob. And, he's, we can have an entire show on him too. But like I said, it's why I named the show Be the Change, because of people like you. Because, here you're cruising along in your career, you're married to a doctor and things like that. And you get to enjoy Disneyland and things like that. And all of a sudden, a part of life smacked you real hard. And from there, it's like, well, what the hell now? What do I do now? Okay. And then you went through, all the, the progression of grieving, stuff like that. And you say, I'm not gonna take this. I need to learn more. And, just with that attitude yourself, you got what you desired, because, energy, once that energy is positive, it becomes attractive. That's the law of attraction stuff. And it's come to you. You found the right guy, and you got the right diagnosis and things. And one that puts you on this journey to really find out who you are, because you already know all the neat things about medicine and the facts you were taught, but there is a spiritual basis to that. And I think science and spirituality is the same thing. It's a different way of explaining things, but it's the same thing. And so I think your book is a spiritual one. It makes people better because they get to dig down deep in them and find out who they are, because it's like people make mistakes all the time. God doesn't. So we weren't put on earth by accident. God doesn't make extra people. Okay, so we were here for a reason, and often it's up to us to find out what that reason was. And I found mine, and Doc, you found yours. So thank you for being on, and I want everyone to get your book, and keep on doing what you're doing, because like I said, you're a better doctor now than you were before all this, because you've touched more people, and the way you teach it is so easy and simple. Plus, it's inviting, it's warm. You connect, to folks, which we all need. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me just toss this in here, Dr. Allen. You also have a telephone number that you can text to get a free copy of the book.
Geez, I don't have that just written down for me, but if you have it there, can you share it with everybody? Because when they text, get a golden pearl a week. And that's something that's even more, just as important as my book. By just texting to this one number, you will be able to get a golden pearl a week for the next 52 weeks.
Cool. Okay, now listen up, everybody. The number is, and by the way, you'll be reading this right on the literal part of the YouTube, but the number is 819-717-2915. Again, in case you missed it, right by you. 819-717-2515. Sorry, I was wrong. 2515. Okay, now everybody can read the thing. I'll have the links up. I will have the links to get the free copy of the book. Man, we are loaded. So you should be a little busy.
Yeah.
So Dr. Nozawa, sign off. Go ahead.
No, this is great. Wonderful show, and like I said, the show was meant for people like you, Dr. Lycka, because this is what life is. Because it's yes, it's the good that comes with it, but all the not so good that comes with it, and that's life. And we're lucky to enjoy it, and we're lucky to learn from it. And thanks to folks like you, we get to improve, and then we get to learn how to be better, and we get to learn how to love harder and forgive more. So I thank you for you, and thanks to your wife also. And like I said, people like you are leaders, and we need more of folks like you.
Well, there you go. Dr. Alan Lycka and Dr. Randall George Nozawa and the song Be the Change. I'd like everybody to have a good day. Have a blessed day. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.